ERTICO-ITS Europe, our friends from Brussels, fresh perspectives from the European smart mobility sector. Please welcome Vladimir Vorotovic.
Thank you very much. Good morning. I'm very pleased to hear such a perfect, pristine pronunciation of my name and surname. Everybody knows me as Vlad, so please come and talk to me as Vlad. Yes. I'm starting slide just to reiterate on what I'm going to be talking about. You'll be happy to hear that when I was asked to present here, I prepared about 50 slides, but I was told that's not enough time. So you will hear a summary of about 15, 16 slides. However, I'm happy to share the slide deck with the organizers that you see, because there are layers and layers of information we want to share from European perspective. I do apologize for being here and not sending the best of ERTICO that you got used to over the years. And that is my lovely colleague, Head of Partnership and Advocacy at ERTICO, Agne Vanateikaite. She did these presentations in the past years and very successful. And I learned that she has a bit of cult following in transport technology sector. But Agne has something to say to you.
Hello, my dear TTF community. I am Agne Vorotovic, the Head of Partnership and Advocacy at ERTICO-ITS Europe. And I'm very sorry not to be there with you today during this important event. But my dear colleague Vlad will provide you with the latest updates in ITS within Europe. Therefore, be kind to him.
So you heard Agne. Please. I'm sharing this QR code, so if you want to scan to connect, because again, the content I will share with you, there are many, many things I'm sure you would like to talk and discuss and learn more, and I'll provide you key pillars of ERTICO activities, heading over, obviously, to some really exciting stuff we'll be doing or working on together. One more thing, reference to Agnes, she provided this very nice slide for those who don't know ERTICO that well, what ERTICO does, what are the key things of ERTICO. And I'm happy to see here, she said, run cool innovation projects, 35 plus European projects and innovation platforms. That's the team I'm responsible in ERTICO. And that's actually a bit of non-standard thing for the ITS organizations. We do networking, we do events, etc. But ERTICO also is its core work in the innovation deployment, which is my department, on ITS across utilizing funded projects. And we have the congresses, and we have large number of partners. And in essence, this will be the content of my presentation. I will provide you updates on the policy and budget angle from Europe, then the new vision, and you will be happy to see some of the words you put earlier for the working groups, very much corresponding to the ERTICO vision. Quick update on projects, partners, because we have some great news on partners too for you, as well as the events to conclude. Again, don't worry, a lot of words. The slides will be available, but I wanted to share the key things coming from the European side. The multi-annual financial framework has been announced this summer in Brussels. It is a very important piece of financial regulation and provision by the Commission. Effectively, it is the budget for this and the next, actually, term of the Commission. And in there, in red, I highlighted a couple of things that are very important for our sector, which is basically the funding for the innovation deployment activities. And again, on the left-hand side is the QR code of the position paper. ERTICO is also an advocacy entity. We put forward to the Commission on our views of protecting funding for the ITS smart mobility research and innovation, and almost to the dot, we got the response we really hoped for, including we vouched for a double of the funding for the Horizon Europe. So as you will see, the proposal is 175 billion euros from 2028 to 2034 for our sector, and research and innovation overall is included. Shall I say, all of the UK entities, both ERTICO partners, non-ERTICO partners, are fully eligible and participating in these activities. I also highlight the CEF budget line. CEF stands for Connecting Europe Facility. It is effectively the deployment arm, and you will see a little bit later why it's also important. So we have a cycle of research innovation. innovation, but we also want to see the deployment on the streets. This is just a meeting that we had with the Commissioner Zacharieva a couple of weeks ago in Brussels, the ERTICO senior leadership. And again, in the highlighted statement, you spoke, we listened, was the message. So at the moment, we are very happy. We did a great job. And of course, this is very much related. I was happy to hear earlier about the ITS directive, etc. So we are really focal for many things in Europe with respect to the future. And that is reflected also in a recent speech by the President of the European Commission, Mrs. von der Leyen, on the State of the Union, you see on the 10th of September. And where you see here the word ERTICO, read it as ITS or transport technology sector. Why it's irrelevant? Well, relevant for us. Well, firstly, when a person of that political provision and controlling such a budget talks about clean and digital, talks about clean industrial deal, automation, automotive sector, and work being done there. There is not a new topic, but a topic that definitely got accent in the new budget, and it's military mobility and dual use. If I tell you that within the CEF program provision, comparing to the previous program, the increase for funding is tenfold, just for the dual use purposes. I think we all know the reasons why Europe needs to be ready, and ITS has a strong, important role in that context. And a few weeks ago, ERTICO also submitted a position paper we prepared on use of ITS within dual use, military mobility, resilience, defense topics. So we expect a lot more things coming there. And on the automotive and the new initiatives from the Commission, there is a new high-level dialogue ongoing. There is a change in the landscape with respect to the different partnership that existed in Europe looking at different topics, and they are coming together. The most prominent, for example, is the merger, if you want, of the partnership that was looking at electromobility and 2.0 partnership, the one with the CCAM partnership, in which ERTICO has a role of coordinator through one of projects we are operating called CCAM Ambassador. And finally, the batteries partnership is also coming together. So there is a provision. First, there is a body that will be set up, and you will see on the next slide, and then the funding with even its reference here in the middle under the R&I towards the joint undertaking. Joint undertaking is a special financial mechanism to fund the projects with respect to this topic of the smart electro-connected mobility and batteries coming together. The MOU has been signed, which is referenced there as well. If you scan this QR code, it will take you to the joint statement and the foundation launch of the European Connected and Autonomous Vehicles Alliance. So at the moment, that's still a discussion and ideation forum, but it will grow towards the funded entity, which probably will be linked to the JU and having a command of large portion of the money I mentioned from the multi-financial framework for the topic of, shall I say, ITS in that context. So that's ECAVA, as an acronym states, and ERTICO is one of the participants. We submitted the application and well received, and I think you will hear a lot more about this kind of going forward. You also see there the setup on the governance and the key objectives. In essence, it is all about the global race towards the innovation deployment of smart technologies, and we know who are the global stakeholders competing with Europe as whole. So I think that that's something worthwhile following up. And again, a lot more slides are in the full presentation. Moving on, one thing we did this summer, and I also want to highlight that in ERTICO partnership, we have a strategy committee and a supervisory board. And again, UK entities are well represented, including Transport West Midlands, for example, in supervisory board. ERTICO office with the supervisory board prepared a new vision and mission and strategy of ERTICO Vision 2035, because the last vision we had was developed in 2017. So a lot of things changed since then. And we reflected on the latest things in our sector and overall in an industry. And very pleased to see in this chart, and then I highlighted there, we selected 5 outcomes that will guide our work, our projects, our events even, in the future. These outcomes were also mentioned in one of, on the previous Slido exercise. Sustainability, safety, efficiency, resilience, and human centricity. So we see these 5 pillars of what we want to achieve with our industry. And in the middle layer here are the enablers. If you scan the QR code, the whole document is available. The enablers are really technologies that, that will help us in deliver. And it starts with standardization. We have data-driven intelligent mobility, data processing. We have standardization, I mentioned, digitalization, connectivity, and finally, the one that also you guys mentioned, we call it transformative technologies, emerging technologies, such as AI, etc. So the key pillars in technology, supporting the outcomes, driving our vision, going towards 2035. Again, this is the backbone also for my team, working on the projects I mentioned on innovation deployment and research area in that context. And moving to what we do, usually it's very good when instead of you preparing slides about what you have done, you use the scientific research to corroborate the evidence of great things we are doing at ERTICO as I speak on research and innovation in smart mobility in Europe. A joint research center by the European Commission, the scientific institution based in Ispra in Italy, a few weeks ago issued a report that you see on the left-hand side. The next slide has the QR codes you can download, which talks about who are the key innovators in ITS in Europe. And this is also an interesting slide. I found it for you as well because it will reference all of the key elements of legislation, regulation, etc., with respect to the ITS in Europe. So the EU knowledge share is one of the things we can talk about, including, for example, the colleague from Ireland mentioned earlier, the revised ITS directive, etc. So this is the link to the code. This is the map of Europe with leaders in the innovation deployment of smart mobility, and I was very happy to see that ERTICO is one of the top organizations. And furthermore, in the bold text there on the left-hand side, you see all of the ERTICO partners who are also referenced. So we really are gathering all of the key leaders in this space, and apart from Eurocontrol, who are a separate entity, and I don't have any hopes them joining ERTICO, but I'm really happy to see this success story of ERTICO and its partners on the research and innovation projects. On this table are the current active projects we work in ERTICO. We have 35, as I mentioned earlier. I think the cumulative budget, multi-annual budget of these projects is exceeding 500 million euros. So if that's not a good sign for you to consider being part of this wider network, then maybe this slide will help you. These are the latest partners of ERTICO from 2025, and I'm very happy to see 4 partners from this market joining ERTICO, in no particular order and not by chronological order of joining. Transport for London, who actually rejoined ERTICO. We have also Transport for Greater Manchester. We have Shift, which is the innovation hub in London, based in Elizabeth Park. And we also have Sistra UK and Ireland joining us recently, as well as the other organizations, which now bring the number of partners of ERTICO about 120, with very strong presence in the UK, and we can also see Ireland as well. And my last segment of the presentation, so I hope I'm okay with time, obviously are the congresses, the events we organize. And I wanted to remind you and to invite you to come to Istanbul, because that's the next European Congress we're going to organize from 27th to the 29th of April next year. So in a cycle, which I think you know, we organize European Congresses. Every 3rd European Congress is the World Congress. So after very, very successful Congress this year in Seville, and many of you were there, I know, I met you, many of you. We are now heading towards Istanbul, very ambitious, and a lot of things to demonstrate. And officially it is the 17th installation of the European Congresses, because they started after the World Congresses. This is a little bit about the history, and you can see it started in 1999 in Amsterdam. of the European congresses. So the scale, the number of participants, how many exhibitions you can see, etc., etc. What is important for you to know is the invitation to join the Congress. In particular, we have now active call for contributions. So please, by the 24th of November, submit the special interest sessions to the European Program Committee, who will then be going through them and preparing the technical program, which is always very, very rich and very important element of it. My two last slides. I just wanted to reference the ITS Congress in Atlanta that happened last summer. Last summer. It was a World Congress. It was very rich with program, and apart from the fact that it was really in at the time that wasn't that fortunate, which is August of the year, so not many European representatives were there, but we heard and we saw a lot of great interaction. ERTICO was very happy to co-share. You can see here the journey to Birmingham starts here. The booth with colleagues from Transfer West Midlands. We had many of ERTICO partners, many special interest sessions, plenaries, very well represented European context on the global scale. So it was another successful Congress. And last thing from me, before I hand over to other colleagues presenting, my first ever World Congress in my life, professional life, was London 2006. So this is what it happens to you when you go on a Congress, your career, your life changed. And I was obviously very, very happy to hear when we selected the next Transport Olympics, as people reference ITS World Congress, to be in this city. And I just had one thing to say, announcing our next colleagues presenting. ITS is coming home. Thank you for your attention.